Welcome to Pastor Benny Presents, a weekly television program that lifts up the name of Jesus with spoken word and music, offering Bible-based answers to some of life's tough questions. My friends call me Michael J. Now join me in welcoming Pastor Benny.
And yes, you're watching Pastor Benny Presents, and you're looking at not a birthday cake, you're looking at our 100th episode cake. That's right. Today's telecast, thanks to our production manager, Ben Payne, and the folks here at WGGS, they've so graciously allowed us 1 hour to telecast Pastor Benny Presents. And that cake that you see, we're going to all serve to the crew at the close of the program. And we're just honored. I'll tell you, we're thrilled to be with you because time has flown on the set with me. Normally, they're not way over there, they're over there. But we're right here with Lisa Pruitt and Michael J. Davis with me. And, it's in some ways, Michael J., where's time gone?
It's fast, I'll tell you that.
I mean, really. I mean, we began this back in the very 1st of August, 2017. And Lisa, you came and joined us somewhere in the fall. And Christmas, she's been with us ever since of 2017. And I mean, we've all, Lisa and I have gotten so much better looking. I'm sorry, Mike, but Lisa and I have gotten so much better looking. And so, I mean, what can we say? But today, we know that, Mike, you and I are the thorns outside the rose. And it's so good to be with you. But what we're going to do today, we're going to share with you a lot of memories. We're going to share with you some of our earlier programs. We've taken some clips. Michael J's been so good to do that, and Scott McCall, who works here. You'll see him a little bit later on in the program. They have gone through and selected some clips for you that may take you back almost a couple of years, maybe a year and 10 months, and take us back. Hopefully, some of these folks that you'll see we'll be able to have again. But they've listen, it's been a joy. And I want to thank you. So many of you have stopped Lisa, you've stopped Michael J., you've stopped me occasionally, and you've told us how much you enjoy the program. Thank you so much. But, our real question to you is, and we're honored, seriously, that you enjoy our program. But what's important is, do you know Jesus? And are you making disciples? That's what it's all about, folks. Because if we're not, we're just doing what New York and Los Angeles do. So we want to thank you so much for your encouragement. We want to thank you for so many of you who've written in. We want to thank you for the telephone calls that we get, sometime at our home, sometime here at the station. But we want to thank you. Now listen, you know Michael J. and you know Lisa, and they've blessed our hearts. But I have talked so much over the years. Now, you hear me on Nightline all the time with saying this, and occasionally I'll get a clip it, just not even a clip, but a clip it of one of our crew members. We are smart enough, Michael J., Lisa, and I, we are smart enough to know this. If it weren't for capable people that we dearly love behind the cameras and on the other side of the wall, we couldn't do it. Seriously, y'all, we couldn't. I mean, it takes so much. It's not just three of us up here for the program. Come on, Ben, bring some of these folks on camera, because I want you to meet some of the dear people that we not only love, but we appreciate ever so much. They do such a fabulous job every week here on Pastor Benny. And so I am so that Monica, don't walk in front of the camera. She's the floor director, and she's always telling me that. I want you to see these beautiful folks over here, because over here we got a shot of Ben. Ben Payne's right here. He's production. Can we get a good one on here? We got a wide angle. He's our production manager, and Ben is you'll see his name not only on Pastor Benny, but you'll see it a lot of time on Nightline, on so many of our programs that we do here. Ben's you're a staple here, I think, aren't you?
Been here a while.
I mean, like 15, 20 years or something like that. And you've seen his name on there, and I'm telling you, the programming, the quality, this guy does it. And again, whether it's Pastor Benny, Nightline, or Peggy, or whomever, I wanted you to see the face, because this guy is super. And Ben, thank you, because you make it all possible. You really do. The short fella next to him, I love it. This is Caleb over there. I mean, and he's got a wife just as precious as he is. Caleb has been doing our sound, I guess, almost for what, 2 years or
Almost 3.
okay, and this guy, and the sound and the audio, when you have finicky musicians like Michael J. Davis, trust
Thank
me,
Thank you.
when you have musicians like Lisa, they're almost perfectionists. And then you've got Caleb, who is just as equal, wanting to make it perfect. Caleb, we couldn't do it without you. And the music, we couldn't.
That's true.
We couldn't do it. And we're smart enough to know that. And I thank you for what you do here. I really, really. You see Caleb's name on several times on Nightline, other programs, and he's doing engineering or sound or whatever. And no, it's more than just moving a dial up and down. Times have changed. So thank you, my friend. You're great. And then, not last and not least, there's Monica down here. She's been with us here at the station about, what, 2 or 3 months now, haven't you? And she's flooring today. And let me tell you what she does. She's either on camera, and when you're on camera, you can make us look bad or terrible. And she always makes us look good. And today she's flooring, and she's the lady that tells me, hurry up. She tells me I have 3 minutes left or 2 minutes, or she's telling me it's almost time to go off the air. But listen, we couldn't do it without Monica. I'm telling you, we could not do programs here at WGGS, and we certainly couldn't do Pastor Benny if it weren't for people like this. And so I wanted you, our viewing audience, to see the faces to these names that you see at the end of our program and other programs. I love you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're great, great, great. So now, when you run into these folks or you see them anywhere, you stop them and tell them, hey, good job, keep it up. We appreciate all that you do. And I mean, it never ends. It just never ends. And some of them have the patience of Job when our patience runs short. Have you ever noticed that?
I do notice
that.
that.
It happens like that. But anyways, thank y'all. Do you have to get back to your post now?
We do.
All right, they're going back to, and I hope that you've seen these faces, and I hope that you will come. I know you don't know them like we do, but they are the people that we appreciate and love very, very much. You know, Michael J., when we started years ago, before even the inception of Pastor Benny Presents, Michael J. and I had talked several times before about if we ever have opportunity to do a program together, we will. And maybe we started talking about this somewhere around 2006 or 7, and I said, Michael J., I don't know that it'll happen, but I said, if it does, and we have opportunity, I'll call you. And sure enough, I mean, you know, you got that call back in 2017 when I told you back in April or May, and I had planned to retire, and the Eastland Baptist Church had been with them we'd been on the air for about 14, 15 years. And, you know, they decided that they were no longer going to televise. And so the station was kind enough to allow me to come in with a program, develop a program. And we had been with Eastland Presents for 14, 15 years, and our president of the station, Dante Thompson, said, well, at least try to keep the name Presents in. And so henceforth, Pastor Benny Presents. And you remember our first program?
Oh, I'm telling you, I remember our first program when I was 17 years old, and I was playing guitar with you, and you were preaching that night.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
One of the best times we've ever had, though, man.
Yep.
It was. And, you know, a lot of our folks don't realize this, but Michael J. and I have been together. Now, Lisa, you weren't with us. You weren't old enough. But Michael J. and I have been together since 1968, 69.
That's right.
And we were back in the late 60s, right around 70 through 72. Youth revivals were the things. And the Jesus movement had come from all places, fact, from the West Coast, California, and it was coming across the United States to the East Coast. And we were having Jesus rallies. I remember we were there at First Baptist Church in Spartanburg, and I remember getting up saying, give me a J. The congregation say, Jay, give me an E. And they're looking, what is this guy doing? And yet, what does it spell? Jesus. What? This is the environment in which we came up. And you and I was preaching, you were singing, and, well, the rest is history. But it's through choir tour that we
Yes.
got to know one another
Yes.
back in the mid to late 60s. And here we are. You always playing guitar.
And you recall the Clear Creek Bible College when we were on a mission trip back in '69.
Oh, my, in Kentucky.
Yeah, in that summer.
So much, and that's where, and Lisa, the song that we'll go off the air with today, the song we'll go off the air with today is the song he wrote up there, and you know, and he played that. I preached a message called "Follow Me." I still have the original notes on yellow legal pad, and I still have them in a file somewhere that I wrote, and we go back that far. Now, Lisa, now y'all go back a ways. You and Lisa do, don't you?
We do.
Now, Lisa, how you go back how far with Michael J?
Then you make me sound old.
Child, tell
over
us.
20 years. How about that?
About 20. And what were y'all doing together now?
Actually, Steve Keeter introduced us.
Right.
And Steve Keeter is a wonderful piano player that's no longer with us. Bless his heart. But talked to me about Mike. He needed somebody to fill in for jingles and stuff. So that's how we did commercials. The switch is on. I think it was,
Little 60-second songs that
Yeah.
you can remember, and I would be writing for car dealers or banks.
Piedmont Honda was what it was. The switch
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
And Lisa was renowned as being a wonderful vocalist, so I called on her, and that's when I first met her.
And so your voice and Mike's has been on the air for 20 plus years.
Well, give or take.
I'd say.
I think that's great because Michael J. Some of you don't know that Michael J. was in advertising. Always has been a worker, a soldier for the Lord in the church, as well as Lisa. But their jobs during the week. Of course, you've been a mama. I mean, and still
That's my job.
still a mama. And but Michael J. was in advertising for years.
That's right.
And so some of the is there any one jingle that stands out in your mind?
Well, just that one I just did. That's the first time I heard that on the radio. I was like, I think I was working at the mall and I heard that. I said, that's me. That's weird.
I went through one of our North and South Carolina, they're in Georgia too, a grocery store chain that I'd written a jingle for and produced that. And when I got to the cash register over the house system in the grocery store, they were playing their jingle. And I looked at the cashier and I said, you know, I'm probably someone you hate. She said, what do you mean? And I sang the jingle, and she said, oh my goodness. She said, you're right. She said she hears it, 40 hours a week while she's working.
Wow. And who would have thought how God works, and He takes people that you would least expect, and pulls you together, and makes a team, and His name is glorified.
Yes.
I mean, and I think back now to Pastor Benny. We've been here 2 years. And I think over the last 2 years, even the songs, how many songs have you written since starting Pastor Benny?
There's probably a new half dozen songs since the show.
Yeah. And I think what keeps it so fresh, of course, you and Lisa singing. But sometimes, we just have something just out of the air, and it's great.
Right.
And it touches so many of you, and we're grateful for that. And, you get to see these folks all the time. For me, we don't get to see them enough, but they know how to touch our hearts. And, I brag on you guys all the time. Now, I know you're coming to Appalachia in December for our senior adults because they're looking forward to that. And Appalachia Baptist Church, there'll be our Christmas program. Don't forget that. But if you'd like to have them as your Christmas program, I don't know if it's too late, but give them a call. Call the station. They'll get the number to us, or write us there at Pastor Benny Presents. There, you see the address right there at the bottom of your screen. And I'm telling you what, they will bless your heart. They just trust me on that. Have them in your church. I know you've done some singing. You've been to some churches, haven't you?
Quite a bit. Yep.
And
Quite a bit.
I know you have your own churches that you're members of,
Right.
but But you've been backing up who? Who is?
Joy Holden, for Joy Holden's Ministries, and we've done Atlanta, Channel 57, and Nightline, and you need to have her on.
I do. And so Michael J's in charge of her music. So you talk with Michael J, and when he says she's here, it's fine with me.
She
I'm
always
happy.
works, so we have to work around her schedule.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, and we understand that. But we'd love to have her because she's got a great voice, you know.
And she loves the Lord.
And she does, and we're just grateful for the people, Lisa, that you have introduced us to, the hospice group, for example. I mean, that's so precious. Your daughters and the group.
Ignite.
I mean, things like that are precious. Michael J., you've introduced us to your son Robbie, who's so gifted on the keyboard and piano. And folks, I hope that you're the better. If you're a weekly viewer, I know some of you like to watch us on Sunday at 12 and Wednesday at 4:30 in the Greenville area. In other markets, I don't know what day or what times we're on, but in our market, in the local market here, I know so many of you do, and we're honored with that. Well, let me tell you what we want to do on our program today. We're honored to have 1 hour. We're going to go back down memory lane. And Michael J. and I were talking. It's hard to believe that when we started our program, that here we'd be 2 years later, you have had major surgery, and I have had major surgery, and that wasn't even on the radar when we first started. I mean, it wasn't even here. And yet we've had some program. We'll talk more about that in weeks to come. But God has blessed us. We did, for Michael J., we had a scare because we thought we had some cancer. We thought it was in the larynx. We thought it was in vocal cords. And, we had a scare. Yep. And for several months, you carried a heavy burden, not knowing. And I was there in the hospital when that doctor walked out.
That's right.
Woo! We shouted glory.
That's right.
We shouted glory. And that's how good God has been to us. Well, we're going to do this. We're going to go on to clip number 1 because we want you to see. I remember it was program number 11, and you introduced me to Charlie Buitrago. And Charlie is from Venezuela, guitarist. And of course, I have a great interest in Venezuela. 1, my wife is Venezuelan. 2, I lived in Venezuela. And so let's go and let's listen to Charlie Buitrago. You'll enjoy.
You got the skies to see your majesty. Your glory shines for all the world to see. You got the cross to see salvation rise. Your voice like thunder calls the dead to life. I pray, God, almighty warrior. I pray, God, you go before us. I pray, God, is on our side. In every storm and in the rising seas, we will not fear, stand in victory. Here in the light, we cast aside our shame. We are free to glorify your name. I pray, God, almighty warrior. I pray, God, you go before us. I pray, God, it's on our side. I pray, God, almighty warrior. I pray, God, you go before us. I pray, God, it's on our side. If it wasn't for Jesus, we'd still be all alone. used to be on their own. Our great God, a mighty warrior, our great God, you go before us. Our great God is on our side.
You remember Charlie Boutrego? I mean,
He was just simply wonderful.
he was. I mean, and you know, so much like you, Michael J. I'm not trying to compliment. I'm just saying it's just natural. The guitar in his
Yeah.
hand was natural, and he just that was back on program number 11 back in the early fall of 2017, I think. How did you meet Charlie?
Through my son Robbie, and Charlie does worship leading down at New Spring.
That's
and,
what it was. That's right.
But I felt such a sense of the Holy Spirit
Oh, my.
while he was singing, and
Yes.
you know, often I will share with friends that this TV studio becomes
It
a
does.
sanctuary.
It does. It does. It really does.
And I experienced the presence of God and His Spirit. And when Charlie was singing, that was one of those occasions.
Well, it was, and I'm so glad. I'm the better for having known Charlie, and I hope he's watching this program because it'll be a blessing.
Great
We
guy.
got on our next clip. Now I'm gonna tell you something. This young lady, Michael J. Am I fair to say you discovered her? Would that be a fair?
Well, she sings with, you're talking about Morgan Smith.
Yeah. Right.
She's a very talented gal. She has a marvelous voice, very genuine,
Very.
and rather rare. Television, Lisa, you know what I'm talking about. Television has a way of homogenizing talent and sound,
Right.
and all of a sudden you might be from Louisville, Kentucky, or the mountains of Tennessee, but you have a little bit of influence from Miami or New
Right.
York and Los Angeles
Right,
and
right.
whatnot. So anyway, Morgan Smith, when I heard her, her father is a minister, and she sings regularly while he preaches. So I just thought that'd be a good memory to bring
It
back.
is a precious memory. It was our third program, and I want you to listen to this sweet, beautiful voice, Morgan Smith, The Bloodline.
Yeah.
Even though my spirit's low and it seems I can hardly go, but still I see victory. Many times I'm walking by faith and can't see what lies before me, but still I see victory. And I've just gotta tell you, Satan, you can't cross the bloodline, because I'm covered by His blood. And you may stare and you may fight, but you're gonna lose this battle tonight. 'Cause remember, you can't cross the bloodline. Sometimes our battles get hot, and it seems we're fighting a lot. Oh, I remember I'm standing on the rock. So, Satan, if I were you, I'd turn around and give up too, 'cause I do believe you're bound to lose. 'Cause I've just gotta tell you, Satan, you can't cross the bloodline, because I'm covered by His blood. And you may stare and you may fight, but you're gonna lose this battle
can you say, I mean, when you have that talent and ability and you honor the Lord Jesus, I'm telling, I mean, that's why, Lisa, you just continue to spoil us with not just your presence, but with your voice every week. And I'm just indebted to you and Michael J. I really am. On this next clip, this is Michael J. This was our second program, all right? The second program that we'd ever done, Michael J. One of your songs that you wrote, and I'm thrilled anytime we get to hear your new songs. And so you remember which one it is?
Not sure,
World
but
Needs Jesus.
this may be the first time it was heard on the program.
Well, what Michael J. Davis, you're going to enjoy this. Listen now.
Here's a new song. It's called Lift Him Up. Gonna lift him up, gonna praise his name, gonna tell the world why Jesus came. He paid the price for you and me on the cross of Calvary. Gonna lift him up, down on my knees, I surrender all to the Prince of Peace. Gonna lift him up while angels sing to the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings. Gonna lift him up, tell about his love, God's gift of grace and mercy from above, about the stain of sin made white as snow, washed in the blood that saved my soul. Gonna lift him up, down on my knees, I surrender all to the Prince of Peace. Gonna lift him up while angels sing to the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings. You can lift him up if you just believe. Eternal life you can receive, and that's a holy truth. That's God's word. Can't say you didn't know, 'cause now you've heard. Gonna lift him up, down on my knees, I surrender all to the Prince of Peace. Gonna lift him up while angels sing to the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings. Lift him up.
You know, Lisa, when you hear that song, what comes to mind?
Well, you know, God just takes care of us. He's going to lift us up even when we're just low. I mean, He's just going to lift you up.
Well, the Lord takes care of all of
He does.
us, and we have testimony to that. He writes the testimony of our lives upon our hearts. And the Lord has been so good and gracious.
Beautiful, beautiful song. I mean,
Thank you.
And you hear that, you just keep tuned in. Our next clip is from one of my, probably our most requested guests.
Yes.
And dearest, I love this man, my pastor, has been. I love him dearly. But it was our second program, Michael J. Our second program. And my guest, I was so excited that day to have Dr. Alistair Walker, who's a retired pastor from First Baptist Church in Spartanburg. And I want you to listen to this clip. Dr. Walker, we're listening to you right now.
You know, for me, our guest for this program, I could probably spend an hour, and that would just begin to touch the surface of what this dear man means to me, Dr. Alistair Walker. For many of you in the upstate of South Carolina, you will remember him as being the pastor of the First Baptist Church in Spartanburg. Now, having retired a few years ago and still preaching and speaking around, maybe not quite as much today as he one time did, he's my pastor and will always be my pastor. And Dr. Walker, you don't know the joy it is for me and Michael J. Davis to welcome you to Pastor Benny Presents, because there was no one that came to my mind that I wanted to have other than you in our first programming. It really was. And how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. For my age, I'm amazingly healthy. I am 91 years of age.
My gracious.
And many years ago, Brother Benny, Dr. Benny Littlejohn, was one of the key young people in the church. He loved to jazz it up on the drums. I wasn't so sure about that, but we were moving with the times, and he was a blessing and a leader among the young people. And I'm just honored to be with you, Benny, especially on this, your first program.
Yes, yes.
Brother Benny, Pastor Benny Presents. And I just pray that God is going to use you in a great way.
Thank you.
You have an aptitude for television ministry.
Thank you.
And I think that the future is bright because you are going to live to be 91,
Yes.
just like I have. And you'll be in many, many churches because you're the type of person with the personality that I believe can be a blessing to many of these churches.
Thank you.
I have been, since leaving First Baptist, in 23 Baptist churches and also Presbyterian
Right.
and other denominations, but mainly in Baptist churches.
Yes.
And it's a great thing to be moving with the times and seeing what is happening
Yes.
in our denomination and other denominations.
Yes.
Because we're facing a crisis.
Well, let me ask you, Dr. Walker, because you have been in church work for so many years. I think it would be fair to say some 60 to 70 years. You've been in church work, and your father having been a great pastor and preacher as well. What are you seeing, sir? What are you perceiving, not just the church today, but what are you seeing down the road in the next 5, 10, 20 years for the Church of Jesus Christ?
I think you're asking me a very important question. And it's one that I think that most pastors and people are asking because we're seeing a drift away from church attendance.
Yes.
And I think basically as we pray, we should remember that the answer to the problem is in the hands of God.
Yes.
Unless God turns this nation around,
Yes.
we'll never see another great America as we used to see it. You know, it's interesting to me that when I go to these beautiful buildings, beautiful churches, all over this area, that churches that once were perhaps having 300, 400, and even 1,000 in worship are now seeing about 40 or 50 people.
Mercy.
And there's been a great exodus of people who are not going to church. And I think it's a sin and it's a tragedy.
What do you account that for? And I too have seen the drifting. What you say the state of our nation, but what else would you see? Has the message gone sour? Have we watered the gospel down? Is the music not meeting the needs? Or what are you perceiving?
Well, partially. The things that you've just mentioned are definitely involved. But the great problem, as I see it in our country, is a spiritual problem.
Yes.
And the big thing that I see is a lack of spiritual hunger. Now, you take over even in the Soviet Union or in China or South Korea, the churches are attracting people, especially in China.
Yes.
I read of the fact that there are literally thousands of people coming to Christ in China, and it looks as if they'll continue in this direction, that they will be primarily a Christian nation.
Wow.
And why are they growing like this? I tell you, it's because there's a spiritual hunger.
Well, Dr. Walker touches our hearts, and our next clip is going to touch your heart. It's our dear friend Lisa Pruitt. Listen to Lisa as she sings. You'll enjoy.
Merry, Merry Christmas. I have a dear friend of mine from Spartanburg, Lisa Pruitt, has been singing many, many years. As many years as I've been singing or playing guitar and singing, my friend Lisa's been singing, and she is outstanding. So I invited her to come over and be with us today. Lisa, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are, as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Through the years, we all will be together, if the fates allow. So hang a shining star upon the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas
Lisa, you get me the Christmas spirit now. I want you to know that. I mean, beautiful. I mean,
Christmas and, well,
it's Christmas in July. I mean, we're on. Hey, our next clip, you're going to enjoy this fella. His name is Mark Cruz. This guy plays guitar. It looks like he's got two guitars. Watch your screens. You're going to enjoy this part of our program. Mark.
I want to introduce you, if I may, to a special friend of mine, Mark Cruz. Now, Mark is down for, hey, Mark, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Michael.
down from Charlotte, North Carolina, Mark does something that no other guitarist I know does, and I've been playing guitar a long time. I told Mark the other day I'm still working hard to learn how to play the one neck on my one guitar that I play. You look at Mark, he's got a double neck guitar, which is effectively two guitars built as one body. And Mark really knows how to show off a little bit here. I'll tell you what, he's a blessed guy with a lot of talent, not only a great heart. Tell me about that guitar that you're playing there, Mark, and then I want you to...
Michael, this is a double neck guitar. It's made by the brand Ovation. And the idea with this guitar is that you're supposed to play one neck like you play a regular guitar, where you press down the strings with the left hand and then you pick with the right hand. And then you're supposed to switch and play the other neck like you play a regular guitar, where you press down the strings with the left hand, pick with the right hand.
So you either play one or the other is typically... Now you switch back and forth, or you do more than that?
Well, what I'm going to do is I have them both set up as regular guitar necks to just try to play them both at the same time. We'll see what happens.
Play them both at the same time. This I'm going to watch. I'm going to scoot off the stage while you play. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Wow, I got a clap for that.
Mark Cruz.
Now, I taught him everything he knew. Mike, any word about that?
I tell you what, Mark Cruz wound up nationally being very famous. He travels all across the United States. He was the Guitar Player Magazine Guitarist of the Year just back a few years ago when I first met him, and he's a great guy. Enjoy very much. He and his wife are good friends of mine. So
Hopefully we'll have him back again, because
absolutely.
I mean, what a blessing. And our last clip, you're going to enjoy. We love this guy. God has gifted him. Listen, see if you don't agree.
I want to start off with a song that on our first program of Pastor Benny Presents, I performed this song. That's been about 8 weeks ago, and I would like to sing it again for you. We've had some requests along the way. It's called Living in a World Without Jesus. We're living in a world that needs healing. We need the touch of God's hands. Living in a world that needs mercy for every woman, child, and man. We're living in a world where hearts are breaking. Only God's love can make us whole. Living in a world that needs healing, with an answer that I know. We're living in a world that needs Jesus. Oh, that's why he paid the cost on the cross of Calvary. We need his forgiveness and his grace for the whole human race. Raise your hands if you believe. We're living in a world that needs Jesus.
Sometimes we need direction. Somehow we've lost our way. We need hope for tomorrow. And I believe there's just one way. We're living in a world that needs Jesus. Oh, that's why he paid the cost on the cross of Calvary. We need his forgiveness and his grace for the whole human race. Raise your hands if you believe. We're living in a world that needs Jesus. In a world that needs Jesus. Everybody needs Jesus. And now to you, Pastor Benny.
You see, and Michael J., you spoil us because, not only do you sing well, play well, but God inspires you to write those beautiful words. I mean, don't you think he needs to write you a song?
Well, write me a song?
Right, but you sing it. He writes it and you sing it.
Yeah. No, write me a song, but you can write the Lord a song and I'll sing it.
Yeah, and I mean, and he's so gifted that he can do that.
Wonderful.
And Michael J., of all those clips that we've seen, I mean, I cannot select a favorite because they're all my favorites. I mean, they really are. And I think that from this little space that you and I and Lisa get to occupy, the people whose lives have been touched, not by what we have done or said, but what the Lord Jesus is doing.
Amen.
And I can't tell you enough, I can't tell Lisa enough, the joy and thrill that I have. People always ask me, they say, do y'all really get along that well? I said, listen, what you see on television, honestly, is what you get in person. The only thing you don't see is Lisa doing the floss.
There you go. Or no, it's actually you doing the floss. I'm like,
I mean, she can floss just like our crew members. See, Kendra, they can flat do it. They just know how. I wish I had a camera on now.
I'm not doing that. I'll watch you do it.
but other than that, yes, what you see, it's genuine. It really is. And there's not TV faces or anything like that. This is who we are. This is who God made us to be. And we're proud of it. Earlier in the program, I was honored to introduce to you three of the folks that make our program happen. And I want you to know that it takes a whole lot more than those three, though they were very talented. I'm going to ask some of the other crew to come on up right now. Come on, folks, don't be bashful, because they have literally...
You have to floss.
I mean, yeah, they make a difference. And if you're just joining us right now, this is Pastor Benny Presents, but it's our 100th episode. And we're just so honored that you, our viewers, have kept us on here in our local market and other markets around here in the country. But these folks, and again, as I said earlier as we started, I'm smart enough to know this, that I couldn't do anything like this if it weren't for these people here. Now, we're missing Kristen. She had a baby boy. And Kristen, I hope you're watching because we love you, and you are an integral part of Pastor Benny Presents, and I thank you for what you've done. I really do, and I miss you, but I'm anxious for you to get back. Love on that little baby, because they won't be little long, will they, mamas?
No, they will not.
But anyway, I want you to meet these other folks that really help us going. This is Kimber. Now, let me tell you about Kimber. Kimber, you've been here how long, Kimber? How long have you been with the station? 2.5 years. She's gifted on keyboard. She's beautiful voice.
She sang with us one time.
And she did. And do you have a CD out?
I don't, but I'd like to work.
But you need to get one. And a lot of time, Kimber has been flooring for us. But lately, over the last several months, you've been directing in the director's chair, which means she's on the other side of this wall. You don't see her. But listen, without her, we can't do it. We can't. And we all depend upon one another. We love you, honey. Thank you so much for what you do. Tease is next. And you've been here how long now? 6 months?
A year now.
a year now. Time flies when we're having fun. And you have been not only on camera, you've been back in audio or video. Where have you been? Video? And I mean, you're learning everything back there, right? So that you'll land wherever you land. Huh?
I have one thing to share about Teese, though.
Let's hear it. Go ahead. Tell us about it.
Teese lets me cry on her shoulder. I'll get here all flustered and everything. She's like, she's my listener. She holds my hands. She's, it's so. And Kimber was there, but she kind of hid in the back.
Well,
so,
she's sitting in the back now. She's sitting in that big chair back there now.
So I just want to say thank you, girls.
Yeah, and again, this is the caliber of folks that we get to work with every week. You understand that, and again, I'm smart enough to know this, that the only way anybody can be successful is to surround them with people who are wiser and better than they could ever be, you see. And so we're grateful, Teese, for what you do and your work, and again, behind the cameras, but still, so important, both of you. And here's Dagan. I mean, Dagan, you've been with the station now, what, 3-4 months now?
Yep, about 2.
Okay, and now you have been on camera, but I also know that you have floored for me here on Pastor Benny? I know, and on Nightline, he floors a lot for me on Nightline, and we always have a great time. But I'm grateful for your ability. I'm grateful for your sweet spirit. All of you, matter of fact, but your sweet spirit, you're always willing to do and give the time that's needed, and I thank you. You're patient. You're so good to keep my tie straight, and that's important. I mean, when you're on set, I mean, keeping your tie straight and your hair right and everything. These people, and they give you the cues at the right time, because again, I'm at their mercy. They tell me, just like Monica, you don't see her right now, but she's telling me I got a little bit less than 4 minutes to go in the broadcast. So, but if I didn't have that, we'd be here, probably the sun came up tomorrow, and I wouldn't know the difference. But really, Dagan, thank you for what you do. You're an integral part of Pastor Benny. We couldn't do it without you. And then, great, man, you've been here how long?
7 months.
7 months. And what an inspiration you are. You have been behind camera, and he's really done for me great keeping my tie straight, but also making the adjustments when we have things in our lap, for example, that you don't see, but I do, and you don't see me having to refer to my notes. Why? Because of his ability as a camera person. And these things don't just happen, you see. You've got to take time to learn. And you've been great. I want you to know
And
that.
he has a great DJ voice you don't know about either.
No. Hey, Michael J., we got a DJ here. And you do some DJing, don't you?
Sports announcing.
Sports announcing.
Sports announcing.
He's got that voice.
Okay, but he does. He has that voice, kind of like Michael J.'s. It's not one of Pastor Benny's voices, I can tell you that, or one of Lisa. But I want to thank you for what you do, your sweet spirit, and thank you. We love you, boy, and we appreciate you more. All 4 of you. I can't tell you enough how much I love you and how much I appreciate you. Scott McCall's not out here. I'm going to get him. Scott McCall, we love him. He does a lot. He does our posting, our YouTubes. He goes back and corrects things. He is great, and I'm telling you, Scott McCall, you should be standing out here, but his sweet wife, Allison, is our Nightline producer, and one of these days, I'm going to just be here, I'm going to get that camera on them, and we're not going to let it go. We have a cake. It's Pastor Benny Presents 100th episode. Lisa, we're going to let you do the honor, and we're going to enjoy the cake, and everybody can get them a piece. So come on, cut. I want you to cut wherever you'd like to cut it. And
that's what my kids would do. Balloons.
You go right ahead. Go right ahead and cut it. And we're going to serve cake to everybody. And as we're serving the cake, and as we're enjoying the cake, I want you to know something. I know we're going to be going off the air in just about a minute or so.
I just did this the other day.
But Michael J. Davis, who is indeed one of my dearest friends, he's been playing for such a long time. I've asked him today to take us out off the program with my favorite song of all that he's ever written. It's called Christ is Calling, written back in the late 60s. I've never forgotten it, the inspiration it gives me. Michael J., as we're eating cake, I'll save you a piece. Take us off the air with that great song, would you please?
Christ is calling for you and me. Join the name for us. He took the blame. Will you answer when Jesus calls you? Hear his plea. Come follow me. Will you answer when Jesus calls you? Hear his plea. Come follow me. Christ is calling.